And we are back with Shoulder Tap. Of course, time to share some success, time to avoid some failure. And we're going to be bringing in our risk manager here, Mick, who's going to share who's doing well, who needs a tap on the shoulder. Yes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Hello, Mick. How are you?
Good morning, Eduardo. Doing well, thanks. How you doing?
I am fine today. And I noticed that we do have an update here that we want to share with everybody. And
Yeah.
I'm going to read it word for word here. Updating the formatting a bit. Any traders that do not have changes to their P&L will be in the pale green or red colors. Any changes will be highlighted in the bright colors. That's corresponding to whether they have a positive P&L or negative. Now,
Oh,
this should
so we're
make it
just
a
showing
lot
the
easier.
image?
I'm
Are we
sorry?
just showing the image, or are we rattling off who's up money in the live accounts today?
I don't know, Jack.
Those were
It's up
internal
to
notes, I think, for added visibility. So we've got Dakota up $6,350 today, Eddie. He's on a 3-day win streak for $25,000, bringing his live account
go.
balance up to $114,000. He's on fire. Trading really well. I know he's also up money in a couple of the XFAs that he's got going right now. Nicholas T, who's in a live account as well. We all know him. He's been on the leaderboard for a while now. He's up $8,800 trading the NASDAQ. We've got Isaac Rivera up $5,500 today. He's at the top of one of my boards, trading the NASDAQ in his live account. And then Farouz, another familiar name, up $2,500 trading the live markets today. But going back to Dakota, who we started with, $114,000 live account balance, $25,000 3-day win streak. He's on fire. And a reminder for all of our traders out there watching, Dakota, in this live account, he's in the 150K live account. So he's got the standard account parameters on that 150K are a $3,000 daily loss limit. We moved that up to $9,000 for him because he's trading really well and he's trading more size. That 15 lot max position size on the scaling plan, we upped that as well. I think he's sitting right at 35 contracts. He hasn't used it yet, which I like. I always appreciate and respect a trader who can trade larger, but doesn't always have to use their full pulled pork. I'll use pulled pork. I think everybody knows what pulled pork is from one of our other segments. But yeah, he's just because he can trade big doesn't mean he's doing it. So really good stuff out of the live accounts. We've seen some really good performance this week out of our live traders, Eddie, and everybody else out there watching. But I've got some stuff. I got some shoulder taps for the trading cards today. You ready to look at them, Eddie?
Let's bring them in.
Okay, let's do it. So, Alba.
Hi.
This is Alba. We got a gravestone next to Alba, and it's interesting that we have a gravestone next to Alba here because we've been talking recently about some good trading that they've had. Eddie, this is an extremely juicy story, but it's not one that I am happy to be sharing. So we had Alba today. As you all probably know, there was that PPI release at 7:30 a.m. this morning. We had Alba right at 7:30 a.m. and 4 seconds sell a 10 lot right after the PPI, right as the PPI number came out. That was at 7:30. We all know what happened to the equities. They were trading NASDAQ. We know what happened to the NASDAQ at 7:30 this morning with the PPI number coming out and the market rallying pretty big spike to the upside. Alba came in, sold 10 at 7:30 and 4 seconds. At 7:30 and 5 seconds, well, they got auto liquidated. At 7:30 and 5 seconds, 1 second later, they were auto liquidated for a $12,200 loss. They lost $12,000 on that trade in 1 second. And there was massive slippage. The auto liquidator triggered, when the threshold hit 3,000, but these auto liquidations are just market orders that get sent to the market. Alba only had about $7,000 in their account this morning when they started trading. They exceeded their max loss limit by over $6,000, by about $7,000 this morning. So a massive, massive loss, a staggering one. I don't think I've seen slippage from an auto liquidation to the likes of this one, to the tune of, they got $9,000 in slippage on this. So there's a couple things I want to break down here. Number one, I'll just be upfront, and I don't mean to be rude, but that was stupid to sell a 10 lot into a PPI number. PPI, CPI, these are two of the biggest numbers that we have coming out these days with the economic releases. If you're going to trade in economic releases, trade small, but to actually execute a trade after the release comes out, 3 seconds after the release is scheduled for 7:30. I don't even think, any of these wires are coming out saying actually what the number was until after 3 seconds. That's basically just selling into the number and taking a gamble, and they lost everything and more. That account closed at a debit. And honestly, I mean, up until today, they have been trading, they've been profitable, average daily P&L of $230. So, the metrics do not look good here as far as only being, right, 29% winning days, only 31% winning days. But those average winning days were more than double, almost triple, between double and triple of what their average losing days were. And their average winning trades per contract were really good too. They were taking down $2,000 a contract on the winners and only risking $1,300 on the losers. So I look at this and I can't help but think, like, why did you do this? You had one trade that busted the account and you had things going for you. They were profitable. They were a big swinger, but they had good risk reward on these trades. So, in addition to today's screw up, I think something that I didn't like on this trade report, despite them being profitable, was they had spent 24 days in the live account. And they were profitable over 24 days. A lot of times we see with these big swingers is, excuse me, overcoming the cold here. After 24 days, they were still profitable, but with the big swingers, we might have guys that are making many, many thousands of dollars in a day and then losing many thousands of dollars in a day. What I typically see is at the end of, a sample size of trading, their average daily P&Ls are pretty small. So yeah, you might take a lot of money out of the markets on your winning days, but you're also losing a lot on your losing days. I'm looking at the trade report here, Eddie, and I see a 6-day losing streak where they had $3,000. They lost $3,000 6 days in a row. There was another losing streak here where they lost $3,000 3 days in a row. And then they had another losing streak, back-to-back $3,000 losing days for $6,000. So they really need to pump the brakes here when it comes to their trading, because, while it's impressive that this trader put up, I think there was, I don't have the trade report up right now, Eddie. I don't know if you do, but there was
it here.
A $14,000 winning day here, a $6,000 winning day,
$7,000, $8,000,
$10,000, another $9,000. It's like, it's great you're putting up those days, but you're wiping out those big winning days with these losing streaks. So, I mean, this person was profitable. They kind of treaded water. One big thing that I have a problem with is they took a payout last week. And again, I love payouts. I always say it, take payouts. But they took a $10,000 payout. Like, it was a $10,200 payout that they took. For someone who can have a losing streak of, 6 losing days at 3,000, that's like $18,000 in a losing streak right there. You better maintain a high frickin' account balance if you're going to lose $18,000, or position yourself to where you could lose almost $20,000 across 6 trading days.
Yeah.
Take the payout, but don't take 10,000. I mean, in hindsight, it's probably a good thing that they pocketed 10,000 because, I mean, they have some money in their pockets, but they busted the account. And that's just, you're abusing your account if you're trading a 10 lot into an economic release. It's a gamble, and gamblers don't make it in this business. So I'm pretty bummed
You know,
out about what happened here with Alba. What were you going to say, Eddie?
you know, on the good side of things, Alba was very consistent with her positions and contract size. But the thing was, after the 26th, there was not a winning trade. Um,
That's right.
every day there, uh, P&L low, P&L high were all negatives. So, I
Yeah.
mean, there
Today,
was a streak going on there that something wasn't working. And I think that if that happens to us, I think we need to take a few steps back, take a time out, reevaluate, and maybe fine tune our strategy or take a look at it at a different way. But it kept going those 6 days, like you said, down 3,000, down 3,000, down 3,000. Alba did not see the light of day for any positive trades there.
yeah, I mean, today with the $12,000 plus loss, that was day 9 of a losing streak. There were a couple days. Yesterday, they only lost $26. On what's today is Thursday, Wednesday,
The
Tuesday.
10th,
Tuesday, they only
yesterday.
lost 80 bucks. So I mean, I like seeing that they're cutting it off at break even. Being down $26, being down $80, that's break even trading. That's fine.
Right.
That's great. But a 9-day streak. And then today was an anomaly, but we need to be aware of what's going on. I know our theme for the week is take breaks to stay fresh, to stay focused, and to refuel. Alba
Exactly.
wasn't focused today. If you're focused, you know exactly what's happening with these economic releases. Everything, every single trader out there, when you sit down in front of the computer to look at the markets, check out your quote board, see what's going on. But pull up an economic release calendar and be aware of what economic releases are coming out. I don't know if they got blindsided and just weren't aware that the CPI number came out, or if they wanted to take a shot. But if you're going to take a shot, which I definitely don't recommend, because taking shots is gambling, and good traders should be executing their strategy in the markets to profit. Knowing that CPI was out at 7:30 this morning, you wouldn't catch me or any smart trader slapping on a 10 lot in the equity indices 3 seconds after 7:30. Excuse me, 4 seconds after 7:30. No, 3 seconds. Because that's 12,000 in losses in 1 second.
Right.
And it's over. So
Right.
I think I've kind of dissected this in a direct way as best I could. I'd like to move on now because
You
it's
move
not
on.
sitting
Sure.
well with me. And Alba traded
All
really
right.
well in the XFA too. But
I'm I've got positive vibes. Alba will be back, and we will see positive trades again. And like we said this morning, PPI it gave us one hell of a head fake, and it that's what happens. It goes one direction for like 10 seconds, not even 10 seconds, and then it slams the other way, and that's what we saw this morning. I think that's what
yeah,
took Alba out. But yes, we can move on.
I'm sure Alba is going to be back trading. I haven't looked to see if they've signed up for any trading combines, but they had something good. They were in the live account. Now they've got to go back to the trading combine, earn funding again in the XFA. And I am not going to forget what happened today, nor is the rest of the risk team when it comes to reviewing these accounts and determining whether or not we're going to call someone up to live, Eddie. I'll be upfront with everybody out there. I'm getting goosebumps up the back of my scalp right now thinking about what happened today. And I will remember the actions and the decision that they made at 7:30 this morning with that kind of size. Total
Okay.
account abuse, total account abuse.
All right. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Another kind of something I'm sad to share, but I'm sharing it because we talk about the good trading and stuff like that. Very happy for Dakota. We've got David up here. David's
I
another
see.
trader that lost their live account today, Eddie. I think that this account closing was a total shame because everything was looking good. Everything was looking good for David. I'm going to just give a little background here from my note card before I dive into the metrics. While I'm reading this, you can look at the metrics yourself. Everything looks good here pretty much, except for the risk reward on the trading days, but very favorable, 83% winning days, 80% winning trades. I'm going to back up and talk about the story of David R. when we called David up from an XFA to a live account. So David got transferred with 11,700 from their XFA. So about 12,000 bucks. As everybody knows, or maybe not everybody knows, but our payout policy is you string together 5 winning days of $200 or more, you can take a 50% payout. Also, when you get called up from XFA to live, you can take up to a 50% payout, regardless of how many winning days you have. It's nice. It's an opportunity for traders to pay themselves. We like that. I always talk about making sure that you start in the live account with a nice, healthy balance, ensuring that you've got a good, healthy account balance maintenance level, and you're not putting your back against the wall. They were in a 150K account. So on any given day, they could lose up to $3,000. So let's go back to the story. They get transferred with 11,700. From that XFA to live transfer, they take a $5,700 payout. So they're starting with about $5,900, $6,000 live. Their first 5 trading days in the live account were fabulous. 5-day win streak for $6,300. So they were making over about $1,000, $1,100 every single day over those 5 days. Then, just yesterday, they took a $6,100 payout. It's great, paying yourself, but again, you took a large payout. You cut yourself in half. David, they cut their account balance in half during the transfer to live. Then after 5 trading days, pay yourself, great. But they also cut their account balance in half by taking 50% of their account balance just yesterday. Yesterday, they lose $3,100. Then they lost $3,400 today, which brought their account to a bust. They went below zero today. So,
hey, Mick, real quick here, Mick. Keep that thought. S&P making new highs. We got the Nasdaq topping new highs. Gold tagging its prior high. So we got some markets making some movements here. Sorry about that, Nick. Thank you.
No, it's all good. Thanks for the updates, Eddie. So the point I want to drive home here is, despite pretty damn good trading, this account was lost, and it was lost after 6 short trading days, Eddie. 7. Today was day 7, excuse me. Guys and gals, traders, we don't want to put ourselves in a position where we're actually trading while we're profitable. Look, average daily P&L, they're making $500 a day. How does someone making $500 a day lose their account in 7 days? They're taking too much in payouts. If you're putting yourself in a position, again, in this 150K account where you can risk $3,000 in a day, don't put yourself in a position where you could have 2 losing days and lose this account. Your account, and keeping your account, it's your best tool to continue making money in these markets, therefore taking payouts and putting money in your pocket.
Right.
Why would you let 2 Yeah, Jack.
I think one important thing to note too is you pay out yourself as much as you want. But if you take out half the money, you should be then trading half the size if you eliminate half your drawdown.
Yeah, well said. I'm happy you popped in and said that. I mean, if you trim your account balance by quite a bit, you shouldn't keep trading the same size that you're trading. Absolutely, Jack. And it's just a shame that someone who's trading really well, averaging over $500 a day, put themselves in a position where 2 losing days, they lose the account. So I really dislike this a lot. Things that need to change here are the account balance maintenance levels. Now, I can't speak to David, what's going on in David's personal life, and if he needed a cash injection. But if he didn't have his back against the wall financially out there in the real world, he could have just, slowly taken some payouts, some smaller payouts, and continued doing what he was doing. And, he'd have a much longer time to, take the payouts and find more opportunities where every single day this guy was sitting down in front of the computer. He was making over $500 a day. But now he's not, and he's going to have to go back to the trading combine. So I really don't like seeing this stuff out of the live traders. Yes, Eddie.
We tend to sabotage ourselves, not realizing And, on a good streak, we think we're invincible. And when the market goes against us, we're ready to fight the market. And I think that's what happens to a lot of traders, where it's like, no, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to have this losing day. And by the time they get to the point, they've hit the daily loss limit, the account is closed, and they got to come back the next session. So I think we just get spun up, and it's all about us.
I think you said it well. I mean, there's countless examples of traders who take many, many small steps forward only to take a couple or one big giant step back. And here we kind of have it. I talked about, him coming out of the gates really strong, 5-day winning streak for $6,300, only to lose 3,100, lose 3,400. And with that payout, they're a bust.
Right.
So, it's a shame. We have to plan ahead.
Right.
A common thing that a phrase that people use when in the trading industry is, you miss the forest staring at the trees, or staring at a tree. It's like, this is very short-sightedness and not long-sightedness. We need to be thinking far out and planning ahead. We as traders are managing our own trading business. We need to be out looking far in the future and ensuring that we're, keeping these accounts that are generating $545 a day. So I will end on a positive note here for David. A couple things that I really like from David's trading are these, the hold times. They're spending about 50 minutes in their winning trades and only about 19 minutes in the losing trades. That's good stuff. That's someone who's patient with their winners, impatient with the losers. But you trade the size, those short times spent in the losing trades can still be larger, and that's what we're seeing. Short time spent being impatient with the losing trades, but if you have more leverage, it's wiping out your winning trades. So I like that. I do like that David's been selective. They're taking less than three trades per day. That's a good thing. But we got to manage the downside, and that was the downfall here. So with that, let's pull up the trade report for Jesus. Jesus doesn't have a gravestone.
Just about 5 minutes here.
Yeah, we'll go through this quickly. Jesus doesn't have a gravestone. Jesus is a very, very big swinger in the market. Despite having massive winning days and a lot of losing days, I mentioned this, I think, when I was talking about Alba. A lot of these big swingers, despite having, let's look at really quickly before I jump into more metrics. Eddie, looking at the trade report, Jesus, yesterday they put up $9,600 yesterday in the market, which is awesome. They snapped a 3-day $9,000 losing streak. So that's really what I like to see. They took 3 steps backwards and 1 giant step forward, kind of the opposite of what we've talked about with the last couple traders. So that's a good thing. You always want one winning trade, or one winning day to be able to wipe out multiple losing days. All too often I see it being the opposite. It's, someone has a big losing day that takes them 5 or 10 winning days to make up for that losing day. So really proud of Jesus here. He was on a 3-day losing streak for $9,000, turned it around yesterday, made $9,600. That's good stuff. They've got good hold times on their trades. They're trading about 10. They take about 10 trades on average per day. So winning days, 29% winning days, 27% winning trades. Not stellar metrics, but you can see that the math is on their side. Their average winning day, despite having fewer winning days than losing days, they're taking down about $8,400 on average on these winning days. The losing days, they're butting up right against that daily loss limit on the 150K account. I like the risk reward. They're making $1,140 per contract, Eddie, while only risking $604 per contract. That risk reward is the only reason why we see that this average daily P&L is profitable. But again, there's big swings here, big losses, big wins, and it's really only translating to $133 per day in profits over the 14 days that they've traded in this live account. So something to digest there. I want to just rattle off the winning days in this account. They are kind of few and far between over these 14 days. But like I said, yesterday was a $9,600 winning day. Last week, they had a $6,500 winning day, $2,900 winning day. They had a $14,500 day on day 3 in their account. So it's kind of interesting to say someone almost made 15 grand in one day out of 14 days, but their average daily P&L is as low as $133. So again, this isn't very indicative of the big swingers in the markets, and something for everybody to digest. I always go back to and appreciate the traders, and I have more faith in the traders that are just hitting singles, consistent profitability over those that are having, the $15,000 winning days, followed by, 4-day losing streaks at $3,000 a crack.
Right.
There's a
Yeah,
4-day
I see a
losing
pattern.
streak for over 12,000 here. There's a 3-day losing streak for 10,000, and another 3-day losing streak for 10,000 here. So,
Right. That's the pattern. Yeah.
it's the opportunity is there to make or lose a bunch of money. But again, I see out of these big swingers, like some of the people we're talking about today, over time, it doesn't work out. I kind of feel exhausted after this segment running through all this right now.
Well, you know what, Mick? What you're doing is, I mean, we're sharing this, and hopefully those that are listening can learn from it, because it can happen to you if it hasn't. And if it has happened to you, learn from it. If we don't fail, we don't succeed. I think that's going to be a good lesson for everybody here. But anyway, Mick,
Yeah,
we
that's
are out of time, my friend. Any
good line to
last
end it with.
words?
No, if we don't fail, we don't succeed. I think you got the mic drop line right there, my friend.
Dropping. All right. All right, my friends. Mick, it was a pleasure. Tomorrow is the roast. All right.
Yeah,
I'm going to marinate the meat.
I'm excited for this.
Tomorrow.
Okay, so Fridays were recently, over the last 2 months, we've been doing rapid tap, where people submit their trades for analysis. Someone, I think it was maybe someone by the name of Jeff, mentioned, why don't we do a roast instead of a rapid tap? So going forward, tomorrow is the trader roast. So I think with the roast, that gives me permission to be a little bit more blunt and maybe not so nice, and really call it how I want to call it, and actually roast these traders. So I'm excited to have a little fun with that. I might be a little bit more edgy tomorrow when it comes to talking about these traders. So tune in tomorrow, 12 o'clock. We're going to do the roast of all these people that submit their trade reports for analysis.
Awesome. All right, Mick, I'm looking forward to that. Coming up next, group coaching. If you haven't submitted a question, it's posted pinned on the top of the chat. Also, we've got coaches are going to take over very soon. We're going to take a timeout. Coming back with group coaching, JD and Hogue.